But what are your plans now for the future?
Just, take it easy, not think too much, not have any plans.
Some girls dream of becoming supermodels, but you know what? Helena didn't. She was curious and more interested in books and photography than runways or flashing lights. But just like a lens snapping at the perfect second, one single moment changed everything. She entered a little modeling contest in Copenhagen just for fun and walked out with a crown and a plane ticket to the Miss Universe pageant. She never planned or chased it, but life did the planning on her behalf. And that's how Helena Christensen, a girl with no fame in mind, became one of the most unforgettable faces of the 90s and one of the most powerful women in fashion.
I've been modeling in Paris for about 2 years, and then I did some back in Denmark, but it's completely different, It's doing it here and doing it.
Hi, I'm Helena Christensen, and I'm a photographer and a model, amongst other things. I'm obsessed with colors, which might have something to do with that I grew up with a Danish father and a Peruvian mother, and we traveled a lot to Peru, and it's a country full of colors. It's almost impossible to understand.
Helena was just 17 when her life took a turn she didn't see coming. She was living in Copenhagen, shy by nature and more interested in art and books than anything that involved a stage. She had no idea what the modeling world even looked like up close. But then, one afternoon, a friend mentioned a local fashion show. It was small, for charity. "Just come," the friend said. "It'll be fun." Helena agreed, almost without thinking. She wasn't hoping for anything. She certainly wasn't chasing stardom.
It's just here, it's people's life, It's the way they, the designers and the photographers, there's so much into it, the whole life. In Denmark, nobody really, they don't really care about it. They just do it and it comes out in the magazine and that's it. Here it's like the whole...
But when she walked onto that stage, something happened. She didn't walk like a pageant girl. She didn't pose like she'd practiced. She just was. And that was enough. Because the judges saw it and the crowd felt it. Although her presence was soft, it was impossible to ignore. By the end of the night, Helena had not just won the show, she won the entire Miss Denmark crown. And before she had time to process what that meant, she was packing a suitcase and boarding a flight to Panama to represent her country at the Miss Universe pageant. It could have ended there, because for most girls, that would have been the beginning of a rapid climb, from agents to shoots to flashing cameras. But Helena did something entirely unbelievable. She stepped off the stage and walked straight into the world, far away from the spotlight. She went traveling from there, and for 6 months, she was backpacking across the globe. She had no assistant or glam squad. All she had as company was herself and her curiosity. She wandered through villages, rode buses, and let life unfold in no particular direction. Because she didn't want fame, she just wanted an experience. Eventually, she found herself in Paris, and that's where her life shifted for good. She signed with a modeling agency immediately. It was nothing huge at first, but something about her caught attention quickly. It's the fact that, unlike others, she was just herself, never trying to impress. But she had a rare kind of beauty, the kind that felt more like a story than a pose. Her face was strong and soft at the same time, like someone who had lived more than she told. The camera couldn't take its eyes off of her. One of Helena's earliest breaks came from Karl Lagerfeld himself, who chose her for a Chanel campaign. Then Prada came along, before a host of other brands reached out, including Versace. But Helena never rushed into any of these offers. She took her time and moved like she always had, with ease and a kind of grace that didn't ask for attention but always found it. And then came the video. Wicked Game by Chris Isaak. Helena didn't need to speak a single word. She just moved slowly, barefoot, and swept by the winds.
She was very nice. She was a real good sport.
Chris and I, we had a good time.
People say, "Oh yeah, what a great job. You got to go out and lay around on the beach," but she was standing in the water that was pretty cold. It was a real cold wind blowing on her.
It was very difficult to do the whole shooting because we're working on a sand beach, and it was like black sandstones that we're working on, so we were both bleeding and stuff. She got a bit irritated in the end, you know.
They kept throwing buckets of water on her to make her look wet. She was like shivering. And then I was looking at her feet. There was blood all over her feet because rocks, this coral rocks are like glass, kept coming up and hitting her. And she never complained. She never complained once about any of that.
It was great doing it. It's great meeting the people who do the songs, you know, because it's a nice song. It's really beautiful.
When the video was released, it didn't just go viral, it became legendary. And that's how Helena became the dream the world didn't know it was having. Soon, offers were pouring in from all corners, and fame followed. But Helena stayed still inside. She didn't chase or allow it change her, because deep down, she wasn't trying to become anything. She was just living her quiet, extraordinary life. And the world wasn't prepared for what came next. By the early 90s, Helena Christensen was everywhere. She had become one of the original Victoria's Secret angels.
Why are you choosing to work with Charlotte Spar now? And
Well, she's Danish and I can come to Denmark and I like her clothes. I've always been very into these kind of textiles, silk, the kind of flowingness that her clothes has to it, very bohemian in a way. And also this way my family is able to come, all of them gathered, and to me that means a lot.
But what are your plans now for the future?
Just, take it easy, not think too much, not have any plans.
She walked for Chanel, Valentino, and even strutted in Versace's legendary black bondage dress, a look that became part of fashion history.
Learn from the photographers who've been photographing you.
Yeah, I obviously must have subconsciously, absorbed a lot of knowledge about it, hopefully.
You're doing a lot of modelling still, well, some modelling. Mm-hmm. You're in a big campaign at the moment in the UK and beyond. What does the future hold for Helena Christensen?
I never think about the future really. I just like living life in the moment.
Do you have
I don't make plans basically.
But you do have a life philosophy, don't you?
Well, that is my life philosophy, not to have any plans, but to try to cram as many experiences in every moment I am.
Helena never let the media or the fashion world change who she was. She was part of the Magnificent Seven, supermodels, alongside Cindy, Naomi, Christy, Claudia, Linda, and Elle. But unlike the others, she always felt like the quiet one. She didn't crave attention or anything like that. She just did the work with grace and ease. While other models played into personas, Helena kept her softness. She could smolder in a photo, but laugh backstage. She brought both elegance and edge without needing to shout. In an industry that's full of rules, detecting how everyone should walk or pose, Helena had a way of moving that was her own. And maybe that's why the world kept watching. And it wasn't because she tried to stand out. It was because she never tried to fit in. Helena began paying attention to the people behind the camera at the height of her modeling career. She observed every one of them, from the lighting techs, photographers, to the stylists. She started asking questions and learning, and before anyone could realize, she picked up a camera herself. While other supermodels were chasing movie roles or launching beauty lines, Helena was slipping into art galleries, carrying rolls of film and capturing the world through her own lens.
In my photographs, I just try to capture the special light, the special moment, the intimacy. Well, I prefer when there's barely any light left. I love shooting at dusk, when all the colors start fading in real life. When you shoot with an old camera, it's like they pull in that magical light, even more so that new cameras do. And it really shows in the pictures, it shows in people's eyes if you're doing portrait.
She became a serious photographer, shooting for Vogue, Elle, and other major names. Her work wasn't flashy like that of others. It was tender, just like her personality, and full of texture and feeling.
You've actually been a photographer for longer than you've been a model.
About 2 years longer, yes. I started out just being really excited and interested in photography. and then became a model, and in a way, used one for the other. So traveling with modeling gave me a lot of possibilities to do photography.
So hand on heart, which gives you the bigger buzz? Which side of the camera?
Honestly, I would say 50-50. Modeling has been a really cool experience, working with incredible photographers that obviously push buttons inside of you to perform in some way. But doing photography is something I know I'll be doing for the rest of my life.
Still on that same trajectory, she co-founded Nylon magazine in 1999 and became its first creative director. And that was just the beginning. She opened a boutique in New York's West Village, created a perfume brand. People were always trying to figure out why, with every step of the way, she moved like an artist, not a celebrity. While the world knew her face, Helena knew there was more to life than being seen. So she made up her mind to be seen, to listen, and to create. But how would that shift from supermodel to storyteller term out for her? Helena's beauty never faded. Instead, her life became richer, especially as she opened her arms to love and relationships. She's had relationships with Michael Hutchence, Paul Banks, and was also linked to Leonardo DiCaprio in the 90s. But her foremost affair was with actor Norman Reedus, whom she had a son for in 1999.
Yeah, that one we can definitely mention. That's a very disciplined skill to have.
Do you still play?
I'm about to buy a little pianette so that I can take it up again. My son is taking piano as well, and I think it's one of the most amazing ways to live life, to have classic music in there, to be able to sit down and play, to relax that way. I mean, that is something I spent.
While paparazzi have often followed her, she tries to keep her real life sacred. She once said she never had a 5-year plan or needed one. She's always trusted her gut, followed her heart, and stayed close to the things that's real, such as her friendship, relatives, fresh air, music, and light. Even now, in her 50s, she's refused to disappear. She still swims in freezing lakes, wears vintage swimsuits with pride. She posts no makeup selfies and laughs at the idea that women are supposed to slow down or cover up with age. These days, Helena's not chasing youth. She's honoring her years. And in doing that, she's teaching a whole new generation of women that beauty doesn't belong to the young. It belongs to the bold and the brave, and the ones who keep evolving, even when no one's watching. Over the years, Helena has become known not just for her looks, but for her voice. She speaks softly, but with clarity. She talks about confidence, not perfection, and being kind, reminding people that a beautiful person is someone who makes you smile. She supports breast cancer awareness, environmental causes, and refugee aid through her work with UNHCR and Oxfam. She believes in using whatever platform you're given for good.
I went to Peru with Oxfam, and I photographed the local farmers, alpaca herders, and basically spoke to the people about the effects the climate changes have had in their lives.
And there's going to be an exhibition in Copenhagen at the Climate Change Conference.
Yes, it is.
And maybe that's why her words carry so much weight. Because she's lived the life, seen the shadows, and chosen again and again to move toward meaning instead of noise. Some people are remembered for the things they did. Others are remembered for the way they made people feel. Helena Christensen is both. She once said, "I never really had ambitions. I think we all saw this career as a stepping stone to something else." And she meant it. For Helena, modeling wasn't the dream, it was the door. And once she stepped through it, she kept walking toward art and her dreams.
I think so.
You're also very into antiques, and you had an antique shop in Manhattan.
Yes.
No longer?
No, we had it for 4 years, about 4 years, and it was a really cool experience. But by now I'm like thinking, why did we even sell all those amazing things? There's like one object and that's it, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I'm so fascinated by anything historical.
Do you feel like you held on to yourself in the years of modelling, particularly the 90s? Did you hold on to your soul?
Maybe, maybe not. What do you think?
I think definitely. Are you spiritual?
I hope so. I mean, of course it changes you, but you know, I feel like it changed me in an okay, decent way. Spiritual, I think yes, I think you have to be spiritual to a certain extent. I think you just gotta be open. You gotta be open for whatever is out there, and try not to be too cynical. Let it all in and experience life.
Helena Christensen may have become a supermodel by accident, but what she did with it was anything but chance. She built a career with intentionality, walked the steps with elegance, and aged with pride. And maybe that's the real magic of her legacy. It's not just in the photos or the recognition she has. It's in the way she kept her softness, choosing art over noise and truth over what's trendy. In a way, she reminds us all that you don't need to plan every step. You don't need to be in everyone's face to be powerful. And sometimes, the most beautiful paths are the ones you never meant to take. Did we leave out any details? And did her story intrigue you in any way? Kindly share in the comments. Thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe.